Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no podcast is slow. Welcome everybody. It's Mixed Reactions. I am here with Justin Duncan, Casey Merritt. Our friend Sean is on his way to Independence, Kansas. I think he's on his way to Colorado.
Already there.
Oh, he's already there. So shout out to
You
Sean,
there?
man. Have a safe trip. And uh, really missing Sean today more so than usual, just because it's March Madness and his Spartans are on a roll. So we're not gonna do no bullshit. We're gonna jump right into the bracket. But before we do, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge that dope. That's a dope Jordan shirt with the Celtics hat. How you doing today, Casey? Is that
Oh, not
Peyton
too bad.
Richard shirt?
No.
Oh, oh, damn. Go C's. Like I said, I still got you guys winning it all. How you doing today, Justin?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Hanging in there. Work sucks. I like the break lady too, but I know.
Work sucks. I know.
I know.
But who doesn't suck? Before we jump into the brackets, man, UC Riverside got a berth to the postseason NIT, first time ever. Third seed in the Big West. Man, UC San Diego obviously won it. We're gonna talk about a couple games. UC San Diego is one game that, and Michigan is one game I really want to touch out. But shout out to the Inland Empire, man. Mike McPire, I think that's 3 or 4 straight 20-win seasons. He started by recruiting a bunch of dudes from New Zealand and Australia, so really cool to see them on the come up. Because honestly, UC San Diego is probably gonna move up in conference. But what do you fellas say we go ahead and jump into it?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen like this is a work meeting. You know what? I figured out how to fucking do it. Boom, bye. My slow ass could figure it out before. So now you fellas should see the tournament challenge a little more clear, right?
All right. Cool.
Is it better?
Tiny.
It's still tiny, but I've got a bracket in front of me. I can keep up with this.
Oh, fuck me. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking I might really fill out like a handmade bracket, but uh, we're just me and Justin both kind of filling out our brackets. We're gonna touch on some games during this tournament, but what before we kind of get into that, and as I'm kind of filling out the bracket because my phone's too full, I haven't been able to do it on my phone yet. What is your guys' favorite thing about March Madness? I'll just start with Justin. Just name one thing.
The Cinderella stories, like the teams you don't expect to make a run or to have a chance, pull off
Like
the
the
crazy
York-
upsets.
Yeah.
Yep. Like them, like UMBC over Virginia. Oh god, Virginia had like the worst run of luck for a few years back.
George Mason way back in the day.
Yep.
My favorite was St. Peter's, the 15th seed. They ended up going to the Elite Eight. They knocked off Purdue. I think they knocked off Kentucky that year. George Mason. Nobody ever talks about 1986 LSU. They went. They did it. VCU did it with Shaka Smart. So it's crazy, man. And it's I remember
Wichita State
yeah, they went
made
to the
their
final.
run. But my Virginia comment was more like the UMBC shocking everyone. I mean, Virginia should have just blown the doors off them, and they shocked everyone with this being the first 16th seed to knock off a one. So yeah, crazy stuff. You never know what happens.
Yeah, man, it's I'm excited, and hopefully for the 10 people that are following this podcast, they're they might get upset for some of the upsets I've kind of picked already. But what about you, Casey? What's one thing that, like, when you think of March? I know you and Sean sat around for a whole day watching it before, but what's one thing that sticks out to you?
Oh man, if I had to choose just one particular thing that sticks out for March Madness, it would be the stars that come out of March Madness. You know, the players who you may not have been too keyed up on before March Madness starts, then they go on their run, propel their teams to some win, and all of a sudden they're a household name. Almost kind of like similar to what Justin said with Cinderella stories for teams, but more so of individual players.
Yeah, my thing has really just been kind of we always talk about how the NBA playoffs, it's like a new season March Madness doesn't really have that, you play a couple games, you're off for a week, but the storylines are really the best thing about it. And something like Jack Golke last year, dude was an Uber driver and he knocks Kentucky out of the tournament. It's just something like we'd be here all day if I was gonna sit here and name all my favorite March Madness memories, but What do you fellas say we jump into a little bit of picks?
Sounds good to
Absolutely.
me. Good to me.
So we'll discuss a few first round matchups and go through a little bit of let me go back to my camera and see how fucking dark it is in here because this shit. Okay, I'm pretty good still. I'll turn the light on in a second. But as you fellas see, I've already got my second round filled out. I'll just go ahead and go to Justin first because I know he's been kind of working on the bracket as well. What's one?
Mine's filled out. I've got my winner, so I'm good.
Who's your champ?
Wow.
Duke.
The main kid. But okay, first round. Um, what was the one that the upset where we're probably gonna look at you like you guys did when I picked Alabama and Georgia to lose the same day?
It's not really that big of an upset, but my biggest one is New Mexico over Marquette.
I have that too. Nice. Um,
I thought I had a thought about I also have Arkansas over Kansas, so it's
Me
also a
too.
10/7. Um, I had I thought just a feeling, take it for what it is. I had a feeling about Montana over Wisconsin. It's a long shot, obviously, but something just a feel. That's a 14/3. That'd be one hell of a upset. But that was the one I was like, do I pick a crazy upset or no? But I have a couple 10/7s in my bracket.
now
Those are
just
kind of like safe upsets almost. I mean, every
yeah.
year you're going to see a couple, not necessarily a couple of tens knock off sevens, but I'd say every year there is at least one 10 seed that upsets a 7 seed for sure. So that's not like
Mhm.
too far. It's not
It's
like you
not
have
outlandish, right?
no, it's not like you have a 14 seed knocking off a 3 seed or something of that nature. I don't think, anyways. You didn't say you did.
I
And for
don't. I don't.
and and for those watching on YouTube on the little ass screen, Kansas currently has a 4.5 point favorite. But no, like Casey was saying, like that's almost even playing field. I mean, you got John Calipari, you got Bill Self, so we'll see. It's gonna be fun. Syracuse. I'm just so used to seeing them in the tournament, man. It's
It's been a couple years. They weren't in there last year either.
as much as Jim Boeheim irritates me, man. It's just different. Not seeing them there playing that irritating ass zone. I mean, you guys were ass this year.
We have been for like 3 years now.
Hopefully USC can turn around with Musselman. I know there was mixed feelings here in Arkansas about him. We didn't have we were what fucking 13th in the league this year. But what's one because I know you were mentioning and now that you because I know you had it on your phone, but what's upset you are picking? My bad, Casey.
If I had to choose one upset that I'm picking, it's almost I hate to steal Justin's answer, but New Mexico State just kind of feels like the right pick to go with in that situation. I mean, when you really break down the brackets, not saying that this is a cold year or an off year for March Madness, but looking through the brackets, I don't really see too many games that I feel are upset worthy.
Hmm.
And so I feel Justin's spot on with his pick, and I hate to steal it, but I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
I would say that, and we had talked about this in the chat over the week. North Carolina has absolutely no business being in the bracket
No
whatsoever.
business at all.
None. But if they beat San Diego State, they could knock off Ole Miss. They could.
Yeah.
Could,
It's
But
sure, but will is the question.
well,
shouldn't. No, because they have the only two teams they've beaten that are of any consequence for like American. What I phoned up. American and someone else. I can't even think who the other team was.
but and for those who are looking on the little ass screen watching the podcast, yeah, I have New Mexico as well. I actually have Carolina beating Ole Miss. We'll talk about their matchup with Iowa State in a second. One big thing that one team that I really expecting a lot out of McNeese State. Those watching at home might call me crazy. I have Purdue getting upset by High Point, so I have McNeese
Ooh.
State in the Sweet 16. They've won what? I think they won 30 games. They're really
You
well
got
coached, like I
McNeese and
said.
High Point in a 12-13 in the 30 run of 32.
I
Wow.
sure do. And then we got Alabama, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's not in the same. Wisconsin, Montana. Guilty. I'm guilty of kind of thinking of that one as well. But an upset. I think Wisconsin takes care of the ball too well. Oregon's been good.
Not to cut you off, but the more that I'm looking at this bracket, I have one that I'm looking at that I can't give any logical reasoning behind this, but I think Colorado State is going to knock off Memphis.
Ooh.
I have that too. Oh wait, did I? Yeah, I think I. Yeah, I
I
picked
had
that.
I had Memphis over them, but I have them losing in the next round.
Well, the thing is, the health of Tyrese Hunter is going to be in the air. Without him, they're a different team. Colorado, arguably the best starting five in the country. We're going to see what happens there. Drake, Drake is just hoping the Bulldogs can go on a run, so his name can get some respect back. Ben McCollum comes in, a bunch of D2 players, came from with them from whatever D2 school he came from. They're balling, first 30-win team in the country. I've got them going to I've got them beating Missouri actually, and it's gonna be one of those tournaments when we come down to the wire. Liberty, Arizona. I was going back. Oh, Akron. I was thinking about them upsetting Arizona. Couldn't pull the trigger. BYU. They've got pros on that team. I really like Wisconsin. I think BYU is just too good. Kind of going down to here. Houston's just too good, man. Kentucky. Do I like them against Illinois? Mm,
I do.
Yes.
I like
Yes.
Illinois in that one.
Ooh.
Coach Cal ain't there anymore. And the Memphis thing, man, like I've watched them a few times this year. Like I said, Tyrese Hunter might not be healthy. They're a really physical team, but I don't think that Penny Hardaway is one of it. They beat themselves a lot of the times. They let teams that are lesser than them stick around. So I don't like them going far. I really like Tennessee. And yeah, it's I love UCLA of course, but I couldn't. And then so we're just kind of going through it. I'm just kind of talking as I'm going through my thing, but I'm really excited for the tournament just because
Do you
I want to
guys,
see what Cooper
you guys
Flag
have a
can do.
Cinderella? You guys have a Cinderella team?
Yes,
A
sir. I
possible Cinderella, possibly going through this. Clemson.
What would that be? Really?
I have Clemson. And I have Clemson knocking off Houston.
Uh,
But
okay,
then
so
losing. My final four is Michigan State, Florida, Duke, Kentucky.
you have Kentucky going all the way to the Final Four?
And getting the doors blown off of them.
No way. I got obviously Kentucky getting past Detroit. Troy, it's Detroit.
Ooh.
But my God.
I have Tennessee losing to Kentucky and then Kentucky beating Clemson.
Man,
So
this is
so you have Kentucky taking out Illinois, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I can't see that. No way. Like I can see Kentucky taking out Illinois for sure. I get that, but going all the way to the Final Four.
Man, I go with a gut feeling from whenever I fill out a bracket.
No, that's
My
fair.
bracket.
I do too, but
I'm almost done with mine. There's some good fucking
my college basketball championship is Duke Michigan State. Shout out Sean Gardner, wherever the heck you are, man.
Oh, and I know you like the maid guy to take it home there.
I do. I've got Duke taking this one home.
I absolutely would like to think and like to pick Duke, but obviously we know Cooper Flag's injured. Is he? They say he's going to be available for the tournament. Sure,
he's playing first round. Last I
but
heard.
that doesn't mean he's 100%, and they're going to need.
This is true. This is true.
For Duke to take it all.
Yeah. I mean, they could probably sit if they really wanted to. They could sit him for the first round and maybe the second round against Mississippi State is who I have him against.
They could sit him for the first round for sure.
So my final four, I've got Michigan State because I put some money on them to win. I really like them. This is the most consistent. Really, I've seen them since I've known Sean, and they've had some impressive wins, and they beat the brakes off people, and they had some impressive comebacks. You're playing UConn in the Final Four, number 8 seed.
You have UConn beating Florida?
I have UConn beating Florida. I have them then beating
I did too.
Colorado State, and then I have them beating Rick Pitino and St. John's. There's
Okay.
just something in the water, but they're not beating Michigan State. And Duke, Houston, Cooper Flag's health will be fine. And God forbid, unless, they rush him back and something happens, he'll be fine. Houston is really, really good. I think it's going to be a really close game. I think Duke wins. And then I've got Sparty winning it all. So
Mm.
really shout out to Sean Gardner.
Damn. So my Final Four aligns more with Ian, but my finals prediction aligns with Justin. I got Duke winning it all as well.
They're good, bro. Like Duke is no joke, bro. There's so many good teams, and then on top of that, UConn has to play Florida in the second round. I like Clayton. Florida just won the SEC championship, but I think Hurley is gonna have his guys play right. I mean,
So,
he's
Ian, for the past month or so, you've been talking about how you think Auburn's the best team in the country. So where do you think they fall out at?
so I have Auburn falling out at
I have Auburn falling to Michigan State.
I have them losing to Michigan State in the Elite Eight.
Yep, that's where I had it too. Good call.
And dude, it's hard, man, because Auburn is really good. They're the number one overall seed, but I think
I
Tom
do
Izzo's-
also have BYU getting to the Elite Eight. No, not to the Elite. I'm sorry, the Sweet 16, but losing to Alabama, and then Duke over Alabama.
Yeah,
What worries me about Michigan State, and I wish Sean was here for this so he could kind of confirm what I'm saying. It's Sean and I on this show have had the same conversation where Michigan State doesn't have one dominant player that can go win you the game as some of these other teams do. And so all it takes is potentially for, a Cooper Flag or even just not even a player from a different team, so to speak. But all it really takes is for Michigan State is to have one or two of their key role players have an off night, and they could be packing their bags decently early.
Yeah, and for sure, and really, man, that's the great thing about March Madness. I remember watching Little Rock win a game. I remember Murray State winning a game, and the best thing about March Madness, man, to me, is when the games where the low seeds have a big ass lead, and the other team, and they just start boom, boom, power right in the kisser, power right in the.
What was the game? Well, there was a game. There was a clip I saw of a game where a team was down by like 15 with like a minute to go, like 10 or 15, and they came back and won.
In the NCAA tournament? Oh, you're talking about Northern Iowa, Texas A&M. A&M had Caruso at the time, and they won. They ended up coming back and won the game. I think
In
it was
overtime, yeah. It went to
in
overtime, and they came back and won.
like double overtime or something. Yeah, that's when they had.
Yep.
They just kept getting steals, getting and ones and whatnot, right? Yeah, I know what you're
Yep.
talking. But
Yep.
yeah, I just like it, man. When the little seed, they just get a bit, and then we all thought that was going to happen with Virginia, that they were going to come back, and nah, they really took like a 23-point ass whooping.
Yeah, they did. That was ugly.
We always thought the first time a 16 seed won, it was going to be like down to the last second. Like, hell no, they got the fucking break. And then the next year, they came back and won the championship. Shout out to Tony
They
Benny.
got with a vengeance. And nobody, after that game, Virginia was like the team that nobody cared about in the regular season. They're like, okay, yep, they're going to do this, and they're going to get blown out in the tournament again because their style of offense was too slow paced.
Well, and that game just kind of ruined the reputation for at least a year.
Yeah, it did. 100% it did. Yeah, of course.
And the wild thing about about that is the next year they were in 1 seed and they were down at halftime to Gardner Webb, a 16 seed, and then everybody was like, "Oh shit!" And then they ended up playing Texas Tech. They had DeAndre Hunter on the Virginia team. Texas Tech had Jarrett Culver, Ty Jerome. He played for the Suns for a while. He was on that team, but. Yeah, just so many great moments. I wasn't alive to watch Michael Jordan shot, but I've seen the full game on YouTube, and it's just great. It's great, a great game. I'm like a lot of times the older games, man, I'm not a huge fan of, but it's pretty exciting. Bird Magic is another one. Still to this day, I'm pretty sure the most watched basketball game of all time. I mean, how many people watch basketball now? Maybe not, but I mean, it's by far the most popular basketball game ever. In comparison to how many people like the sport. But let me go ahead and take this bracket stuff down, man. Like I said, go Sparty. I know you guys want to talk a little bit of college hockey, but I want to talk some NBA. We'll talk the college hockey. I know we go hard on that at the end of the show. Casey, you got to be a little easier on your boys, man. I was watching the game against Oklahoma City, and I was like, you know what? I don't blame you for being frustrated. The first 2.5 quarters, it was like, okay, they're losing, but they're not playing that bad, and they just fucked it up.
No, I do not have to be easier on my boys. I'm still repping them, still a diehard fan, of course. But no, I don't have to be easier on them. They had. You got to take that off your screen real quick, though.
Yeah.
Can't hear you. I think you're muted, big guy.
All right, I got you. My bad.
Yeah, no, I don't have to be easier on them at all, Ian. I mean, you got that game was 6 days ago now, so it's kind of hard to recall everything. But they had
24-19 right now.
Yeah, I know. They had multiple chances in that game to tie or take the lead early and midway through the fourth, and basically missed every single one of those shots. And on half of those shots, it was a one and done, which OKC then went out, led to a rebound, and got another bucket. Those are the type of games when I'm watching where I know they can't come back, because they'll have a good play here, they'll have a good play there, but they don't string enough consistency together to either A, form a lead, or B, cut down to a lead. And it just wasn't a sufficient basketball game. And, I came to my senses on it. You were right. It is just a regular season game. It doesn't hold that much weight. But the Thunder were down Williams. He was not playing. So the fact that they went into Boston and beat the Celtics without their second best player strikes fear in my heart as a Celtics fan if we have to meet up with them in the finals.
There is one point of order when it comes to the Celtics game tonight. There is no Jaylen Brown and also no Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
So their starters were Sam Hauser, Horford, Porzingis, Drew Holiday, and Derek White.
I will say this, though. I hadn't had a chance to see him play a lot, right? Like, I know his stats. I know he's the front runner for MVP. I know he's the best player on the number one team in the West. I understand all that. SGA is overrated.
Yeah, I think
he's a foul merchant.
He shoots 90% from the free throw line.
I don't care. He's a foul merchant. He begs for calls. He's basically the new version of James Harden.
He's not as bad as Harden.
He's getting to that point.
He's getting up there. I'm not going to deny that he's not. But I mean, Shea's playing ridiculous. He's either the front runner for MVP or him and Jokic are right. Like, they're right there. I don't agree that Shea's overrated. And plus, he shoots from the mid range.
He's not going to get those calls in the playoffs. That's going to be OKC's downfall because he's not going to get those calls, and he's a below average 3-point shooter.
That's fair about his 3-point shooting, but he can still get to the rim at will, and he's a matchup. I mean, he's still foul merchant or not. Or did you use the term foul merchant? I'm only asking because I've heard that term thrown around so much today. You did. I just forget.
A foul merchant. There's no debate about it. He's a foul merchant. OKC plays swarming defense.
Mm-hmm.
He had a tough time getting open shots against them, and we don't struggle against open shots against anybody. But they made it difficult. They put the clamps on Jaylen Brown. He had the worst game of the season, fouled out with, I think, either 10 to 12 points total. He had that one great dunk, which is phenomenal, by the way.
Really the worst game of his career.
It was, he
played like shit.
He needs to figure out that defense, or if we match up with them in the finals, it's going to be tough sledding for Jaylen Brown. Tatum was fine. Tatum had a great game. For Jaylen Brown, it's going to be a struggle if he doesn't know how to figure out their defense.
Or can't keep his hands from reaching in every single 2 seconds, which is why he got called in every single time.
Yep.
The thing about Boston, too, man, like when they're rolling, I mean, especially if you could get Cornette a few times, will come in there and give them some decent minutes. They played a tough team. Thankfully, you guys have won 2 in a row coming into tonight. Another thing about Oklahoma City, too, since we're on their subject, I mean, Chet hasn't even played 25 games this year. So we'll see what happens in the playoffs. You're right. HGA might not get those calls in the playoffs. I don't really see. I mean, because the Nuggets are the 2 seed. Oklahoma City's 1, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. OKC's the 1 seed. Ian, it's not that if he won't get the calls, he won't. We see it time and time again when these people who are shooting 10 to 15 free throws per game go down to shooting 6 or 7 free throws per game, and their scoring averages drop by 6 or 7 points per game.
That's fair, but I also think the defense gets better in the playoffs too. I think a lot of times when you're making a play on the ball, I mean you're right. I guess I'm kind of leading into your point, but I think the defense is better too in the playoffs, which does play a factor into guys not performing as well. But I don't see any reason Shea Cat isn't going to perform well these playoffs. Um, we'll see. I mean, like you said, a below average 3-point shooter, you're going to need something, but he does prefer the mid range and he can get to the basket at will. So we'll see. But I mean, 90%. When he does get the chance, he's going to make them too, which is going to be a huge.
I mean, right now he's averaging 33 points a game. You can't shy away from that. You can't knock him for that.
James Harden averaged 36 in 2018. Look what it got him.
True that.
I mean, they ran into 2018. I think that was the year they got played at the Warriors. But I mean, that was the KD Warriors. They would have beat any other. They would have beat the breaks off the Cavaliers in the finals. They played them.
Maybe.
I think they would have beat that J.R. Smith, man. And the funny thing about kind of shifting gears, the LeBron thing when they lost, they got swept in the finals, and he had like 51 points in game one. People said he should have did more. What else can you do? J.R. Smith forgot how much time was left. I was watching that shit with no sound on. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing?
Speaking of LeBron, Ian, this is kind of off topic in general, but did you watch the TikToks I've been sending you about these AI created songs like about LeBron James?
Nah, like TikTok, I deleted it, and I always forget my password and shit.
You gotta check. It's mad funny. So it's like popular songs that are out right now, and they're just reincarnated by AI to be about LeBron, and they are hilarious.
What the Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. I always go down rabbit holes with them damn Instagram reels, bro. I'll start watching one and just start. I saw one yesterday. Dude was trying to like scare his friend that was coming around the corner. He thought it was his friend. It was a cow. So he jumps out to scare him, and they both fucking jump and run. They separate ways. But TikTok, man, I thought it was gonna go down. I'm not touching that fucking subject. I'm not.
No, we good on that.
I'm sure.
Back to the NBA. Ian, your Clippers now. What is their playoff ceiling? Try to be as unbiased as you can here. They got their first round exit, aren't they?
West is too good this year. Unfortunately, most likely out in the first round. I don't see. I mean, we're not gonna have home court advantage. We're gonna have to play Oklahoma City or Denver. I don't think that. I'm not saying we can't win a couple of games. I just don't
I would
think.
love to see y'all take out OKC. I'd be a cheerleader for y'all against that OKC series.
Yeah, I just don't think it's happening. Like I said, I think we could win a couple of games. Chris Dunn's been resurgent. I liked him coming out of Providence, but we'll see. I'm not no huge expectations. I just want to see us be consistent over the next month and a not even month and a half month. And just going to the playoffs.
A month in the playoff start.
Yeah. I mean, last year against Dallas, man, like we got a tough ass draw I think if I'm not mistaken, we had the 4th seed, we had to play Dallas. We get that big ass lead, they come back, PJ Watt, like they were just a tough matchup. And I said it on the show once they got Gafford, he was gonna become a problem. But that Dallas is another story. Oh my goodness, man. That fucking shit is a wreck over there. All your guys' sports teams, except for the Stars and the Rangers, they carry the city.
Did you see the Mavericks legitimately might have to forfeit games due to not having enough players on the roster that aren't injured?
No shit. Let me see. Let me look that shit up. Hold on, I'm looking it up. Oh shit, you're right. It says Mavericks face potential forfeits over deepening injury crisis. I've never heard of no shit like that. I mean, they don't have. They can call you.
That's ridiculous. That is the worst luck you can possibly have for a team to have that many injuries that are just derailing your season completely.
Well, they said it has to do with for salary cap relief. Oh, they asked them for salary cap relief. I don't know. I mean, there's nobody you could call up. I mean, that's just. Let's go ahead and look at the Dallas injuries, shall we? It's gonna look like the goddamn Miami Hurricanes arrest report.
It's a plethora of injuries for them right now.
Well, let's take a look. God damn! That Anthony Davis, Dante Exum, Daniel Gafford, Jaden Hardy, Kyrie Irving, Kai Jones, Derek Lively II, Kayla Martin, and Oliver Maxence Prosper. And one guy's out for the or Kyrie's out for the season. Prosper out for the season. Anthony Davis is out. He's weak. Oh man, I feel bad, man. I almost feel like a fucking investigation should go into Dallas. Like, what kind of shit? So a lot of people say it's a conspiracy theory that he's just trying to move the team to Vegas. That he's just trying to make fans stop coming to the games.
I can't imagine that that's the case, but I suppose you never know.
That's true. I mean, that is a bit of a far fetched theory, but I mean, look at it is more far fetched than this. But I mean, look at what happened with the A's. I mean, they just didn't build the stadium. Fans were. I mean, I wouldn't want to go to the Oakland Coliseum. I talked to people that have been there. I mean, I've heard just leaks, and it's just a terrible place, even worse than the where the Redskins, the Commanders play. So I mean, I don't think it's as extreme, or it's more far fetched. But I mean, I wouldn't put it past a billionaire ownership group at all, or to do something like that. It's just a conspiracy theory, but it makes a lot of sense when you consider the fact they're also raising their ticket prices.
So there's a lot that's going in, obviously, to the playoffs this season when you really break down the legacies that could be at stake. It sucks to say, I don't think the Suns are going to make the playoffs. So that's really going to have people second looking at Kevin Durant's legacy, especially compared to what his legacy was shaping up to be in 28,
Oklahoma City,
comparatively to what it is. Not even OKC.
Are you saying when?
Yeah, when he won his first 2 titles with Golden State, a lot of people were talking, hey, Kevin Durant's going to go down as a top 5, top 10 player ever. But ever since he has left OKC, or not left OKC, I'm so sorry, since he's left Golden State, he hasn't even been to the second round. Or he's been to the second round once, my apologies. He's been, hi, Kat. He's been to the second round once and has only won 2 playoff series since then. So I don't, Kat, you gotta move.
And live TV, everybody.
If they happen to miss the playoffs this year, you gotta really make the case that obviously Kevin Durant was the best overall player when Golden State was winning the titles, as far as who was better in that stage of their career. Durant's legacy as a whole is going to take a massive hit if he doesn't find a way to win a ring without Steph Curry.
It's one of those
hard to
things.
argue.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things to where, well, Kevin Durant's legacy has been an interesting one. Granted, another thing he does have going for him now is the fact that he just tied Carmelo Anthony, or he's up there with him for the most decorated Olympian of all time as far as men's basketball. But yeah, I mean, his legacy, he left Oklahoma City, won 2 Finals MVPs in Golden State, because even though we were calling him a traitor for leaving Oklahoma City, yeah, they were doubling Steph. Still won 2 Finals MVPs. Kevin Durant balled his ass off. I mean, he outplayed LeBron, hit 2 daggers against Cleveland. I can't really say outplayed LeBron. I take that back. He played really damn good. We knew they weren't giving it to LeBron, but Kevin Durant played out of his mind. Like, let's not get LeBron. What was it? One of the finals he led, like literally every statistical category. Not trying to take away
from every statistical category.
But yes, he goes to Golden State. He wins 2 Finals MVPs. Durant does. He goes to Brooklyn. I mean, that was just a mess. And then we had, the COVID thing. Couldn't get Kyrie. He wasn't playing Harden thing. That was a mess.
How did that Brooklyn thing become such a mess? You had Kyrie, Kevin Durant, and James Harden, and they couldn't win a title?
I mean, say
that. A playoff series.
Say exactly what you said again, and you'll have your answer. It's Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. They're all great players, but I'm not saying they're all divas. Not going to go that far, but I also think that
they're 3 alphas.
They're 3 alphas, and they're 3 guys to where they expect a championship level team to be able to revolve around them. So I think it was just a lot of wrong place, wrong time, injuries. Ben Simmons came there, and don't even fucking get me started on that. I remember sweating my parlay out. Oh, Ben Simmons isn't playing again? Let me goddamn I guess I'm eating noodles the rest of the week.
the difference in legacy, and here's the different levels in greatness, right? Swap Kevin Durant for LeBron, and Brooklyn wins the title.
They win multiple.
With Kyrie and James Harden, they win titles. LeBron, Kyrie, James Harden, they win titles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't think there's any debating that.
It's one of those things to where Durant, like I'm with Casey. Like it, I mean, you guys kind of both said it. Like once he won in 2018 the Finals MVP, we're like, okay, at this point, that's 2 Finals MVPs. He has an MVP. He's just balling out. Goes to Brooklyn, and then we think, oh man, he's about to bring a championship to New York. Doesn't happen. Goes to Phoenix. I mean, we see what they had done with Chris Paul. Like, okay, he's gonna.
Master with Phoenix. Not Kevin Durant personally. He's played fine. But there's something about Kevin Durant that makes him not want to be an alpha. I mean, I know you said with Kyrie, Harden, and Durant, it's 3 alphas, but there's something with Durant that prevents him from being that leader, like that vocal leader in the locker room that can uplift a team.
I wouldn't go that far. I would say he's not at the level of like LeBron and those guys and doing that. But I mean,
he wants to be the silent assassin.
Right. I think he can be a vocal leader, but he's not up to the pad of those other guys. But I mean, other than LeBron that you named, I don't know how many other guys would have won a championship there other than LeBron with that too. You know, who else could have coexisted with Kyrie and James Harden on the same team? And if you even think about it, Kevin Durant's foot was on the line by like that much. If his toe was a half size smaller, we're not even having this conversation. What?
Tatum.
So you think Tatum could have joined up with Harden and Kyrie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Win
no question.
I mean, they have a Bridge? No, they didn't have Bridge was on the Suns. They had they had Claxton still.
Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah, DeAndre Ayton.
Blake Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. And speaking of Blake Griffin, man, those Lob City years never got out of the second round. And then we finally do. I think Ty Lue is just such an amazing coach, man. But we finally get out of the get to the conference finals. We'll be there one day. It's just the NBA is one of those leagues, man, to where the NFL doesn't really seem like this. The NBA, it just seems like once we get to the playoffs, some of this shit's not even worth watching because some of these teams just way better as the playoffs go along. I mean, you think about last year, Oklahoma City and Dallas. Oklahoma City was the 1 seed, and Dallas took care of them in 6 games and made it look like it wasn't an issue. But I love the playoffs, man. There's nothing like the NBA. I love college basketball, but there's nothing like the NBA playoffs. Nothing.
I agree with you in some certain aspects, Ian. Like when we get to let's put it like this. If I wasn't a Celtics fan, I probably wouldn't watch a Celtics Magic matchup at a 2-7.
Right.
Like I'm a Celtics fan, but unless I'm a fan of the Celtics or the Magic, what's the point of watching that game when we know the outcome? And at worst for Boston, it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. At worst.
Right. Hey, so what playoff matchup do you guys think is going to get relegated to the shadow realm that is NBA TV? So currently in the 4-5 matchup, we have Milwaukee, surprising turnaround this season. And then in the 4-5 matchup, okay, Lakers Grizzlies is not going on NBA TV. I don't know who would really see Nuggets Warriors. That's not going on NBA TV. Knicks Pistons, no. Probably Bucks Pacers.
Pistons might.
Knicks
might.
New York though. I know, but I think Cavaliers Knicks was on NBA. So yeah, you might be right, but ain't nobody want to watch it. Milwaukee, Indiana, probably. As a 4-5, yeah.
Here's why I could see Milwaukee, Indiana, because obviously the Pacers are huge in Indiana. So, but
playoffs are still broadcasted on the local sports network TV. So they watch it on NBA TV anyways. They'd still get it on whatever fucking network they end up watching it on. I could absolutely see it being Milwaukee and Indiana.
Now, if this was 2 seed Milwaukee, maybe not, but they're 4-5. Whoever wins is probably going to get 4 or 5. That mean whoever wins is gonna get bashed by Cleveland. I don't see either of those teams beating Cleveland. I've always liked Milwaukee. I liked Milwaukee more when Drew was there. When Drew was there, they felt whole. I mean, man, I don't think Drew Holiday gets enough credit, bro. He doesn't. Like everywhere he goes, he just like he is the X factor. But that's how I feel about Derek White too. Derek White is one of those guys like you hate to play against him, but you would love to have him on your team. He's always hustles, but you guys have a lot of fucking work to do. But playoffs, it's yeah, like I said, Celtics ain't going on NBA TV. Pistons, Knicks, maybe.
If it's the Celtics Magic, I could potentially them throwing that on NBA TV. Like I know it's Boston, so it's one of the biggest markets, especially in the NBA, so they probably won't. But I could see it.
Because it's not a sexy matchup.
It's not at all.
And the Anaheim Ducks are currently 8 games out of the last wild card spot, and there's 15 games to go. Dude, we're on the right. We're on the right path.
On the rise, but not there yet.
Yeah, we're not gonna make it. But even if we did,
You know,
we
the Bruins.
Oh God,
Bruins
you get down. That shit's sad, man. Yeah.
Hey, how Korpisalo last night literally punted the puck out of away from the goal after he saved it.
And speaking of hockey, let me see how many goals away. 8 goals away Ovechkin is from the record.
Beautiful.
I know we joke all the time about the Gretzky thing. Like, let's not even act like it's
It's not even a conversation. It's not going to be a conversation. But of all the, I mean, that was.
This doesn't move the needle for.
It doesn't move the needle. It's a nice little footnote, but it's not. It doesn't move the needle.
Does it move the needle for Braun?
You choking to death?
Does it move the needle for LeBron being the all-time points leader, scoring leader?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Gretzky is just too far ahead of it. Yeah.
100%. Gretzky's just way too far ahead of the class for something of just the all-time goals leader to overthrow it. Now, if Ovechkin had fucking 4 championships, 6 MVPs, his team won like 3 or 4 President's Cups, something of that nature, then yeah, he would have a case. But that's just not how it is.
And Gretzky, if I'm not mistaken, won 4 in a row. I think he lost the first time he played in the Cup Finals, his second season, and then he ended up winning 4 in a row. I know the Islanders won 4 in a row. I think the Oilers might have as well. I got to double check.
But even without the goals, Gretzky would still have the all-time points record.
That's ridiculous.
Over Ovechkin, still.
Without a single goal.
That's insane. Oh my goodness.
Speaking of goals, holy bananas! Did the Maine Black Bears score some on Saturday night?
Touchdown!
That's
7
crazy.
of them.
You guys just kept texting the chat, and I just see 3-1, 4-1, 5-1 Maine, 6. Eventually, I was like, God damn, how many goals?
Touchdown, Black Bears.
That's crazy.
7 different players scored that night. There was no
7.
7 different players scored.
That's crazy.
And all of 5 of the 7 were all by transfers who came over for this year.
Yep. And we have another draft pick coming in next year. That's a draft pick. I like that. So that, my friends, was the best I have seen Maine play all season long. That was the best 60 minutes. Actually, I'll say 40 minutes because they didn't score in the first period. But the second period and third period was the best stretch of hockey I've seen them play all season long.
I'd say the best since the Quinnipiac series. Maybe the Denver game where they won.
I think that's fair, but I think they were more offensively proficient in this game.
Yes, I would say from an offensive perspective, but in terms of overall game, this is probably the best game they played since the Denver game.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Lyndon Breen looks like he's getting the skates back under him. He looks like he's fully back now, which is huge. Obviously, we have a huge game on Thursday against Northeastern to go to the Hockey East Finals. As crazy as it sounds, I'd rather match up with BU than UConn.
Yeah, agreed.
Which
Because
it
UConn is like our kryptonite for whatever reason.
absolutely, but
I
it's
said this. I said this years ago, and I said it earlier this year. Back when Red Gendron was the coach for the Black Bears, rest in peace, Red. He could never, ever beat Providence at home or away. Couldn't beat him. Couldn't solve Nick Lehman to save his life. Not once. Ben Barr is having the same thing with Tom Cavanaugh down in UConn. Or Mike Cavanaugh. Thank you. Mike Cavanaugh. He cannot figure out UConn. For whatever reason it is, he just can't beat UConn.
which I think this could be the game where it happens if we do. Like, I would still think, as crazy as that, I still think Maine would win if they matched up with UConn.
I think they'd win too. At least they on paper they should, for sure. But if you're going to get that monkey off your back, this is a perfect time to do it.
And what better confidence going into the national tournament than beating the team that you have struggled the most against? What better confidence in going to the tournament than that?
Yeah. Speaking of Maine's matchup against Northeastern, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Northeastern's game against Boston College. Northeastern played like their life depended on it, and they stood up on their heads. Like the entire team, 20 blocks for the team.
I thought that was great too. Obviously, it was phenomenal, and it was Northeastern's highlight of their year for sure, right? Do you think that this is potentially Boston College playing chess rather than checkers? And here's my thought, right? Hear me out. Knowing they have the number 1 seed locked up already, they don't care about another Hockey East championship. That's not what they're worried about. Like, sure, it's great. They're worried about the national title. So do you think this may have been a little bit more of, hey, let's get a little bit of extra rest going on here? Not saying they played to lose, but didn't necessarily play to win.
Not necessarily, because what I would make the argument if you rewatch the game, if Boston College had another maybe minute in the game, they would have beaten UConn, beaten Northeastern in that game. They would have won.
Yes, I agree. They were humming.
Because at the end of the game, they were buzzing around Whitehead the entire time.
Yeah. That I agree with. For sure. They absolutely.
At the end of that game, they were really pushing the needle. But during a lot of that game, I'm not saying that because I watched the whole thing. I'm not saying they were given half-hearted effort. I don't want to accuse them of that.
Oh no, I didn't take that way. But I would say for the first period and a half, they were kind of mailing it in. There wasn't a big motivation to go balls to the wall. So. Yeah, I mean, BC. I mean, I'm not sad that BC's out of the tournament right now. I won't say that.
I was shocked when I saw that. I was like, "Whoa, they fucking lost." I was looking at the semifinals, and I was like, "Where's Boston College?"
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked when I was watching. But like I said, I wouldn't lie if that thought to creep my head a little bit. It's like, they got it on top. One part with extra rest. That's all.
No. If Maine, I've got Maine winning, obviously getting to the final. Actually, kind of handily. I think Northeastern was if we were going to match up against a team, Northeastern was probably the team we wanted to meet up at this point.
Agreed.
We could probably beat them like 4-1 without much trouble.
4-1's a stretch because that.
If they play like they played against Lowell, they'll win like by that much.
Yeah, for sure. But that's a tough performance to replicate.
Oh yeah, sure.
But I could see it. I see it more of a 3-2 type of game, but not a 3-2.
I want at least a 2-goal cushion. I don't want a 1-goal better.
Mhm.
Here's what I mean by 3-1, right? I don't mean a 3-1 with 2-2 going into the third and we score a late goal to take the lead. I mean, we're
Okay.
up 1 with 6 or 7 minutes left. They score after they pull their goalie, and then we just kind of
Okay. Okay.
Bro, that shit's crazy, man. I gotta fuck with my ESPN. The damn Ducks games are blacked out for me. I don't know what happened. I got my Arkansas zip code. That shit sucks. But
watch the main.
huh?
Are you going to be able to watch the main game
Yeah, it's Friday and Sunday, right?
Thursday?
Thursday and Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, because of the World Figure Skating Championships, they have to push it
Oh,
early
what the
this
fuck?
week.
Oh fuck, that's right. It's Thursday, Friday.
Mhm.
That shit's crazy. Thursday, Friday. That's wild. Like, wasn't it? Because I remember watching Maine. You guys lost to what, BU last year in the semifinals. I think that was on a Friday, and then they lost to BC. I think on Saturday, if I remember correctly, or on Sunday right? Because it's usually a day of rest in between, right? Or no day of rest.
No, typically a day.
Okay, and it's fucking.
But
Crazy.
that's the thing. I don't understand where the World Figure Skating Championship is going to affect this. That's just a little asinine, in my opinion, but it is what it is.
Wait, so it's in Boston, right? So that's
It's at the Garden. It's at TD Garden.
man. And I really like watching the Ducks broadcast because Guy Bear, the former goalie, he's one of the like sideline or whatever guys. But yeah, man, I'm excited to see how well Maine can do in the tournament, bro. I mean, ever since I've known you, they've never been this good ever. Like
No,
literally. Well, yeah, I mean, even the year they lost to
they
MSU
were
in the
pretty damn good. Last year they were pretty damn good, but not the team that they are this year. And I think they have the potential to be even better next year now.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Just some bullshit.
we actually have a recruit that's a defensive draft pick out of Arizona, now Utah. Jeremy Langlois, I think that's how you pronounce his last name.
Yeah, it is.
Coming out of Quebec.
So I think we're only going to get more talented as the years come because fans and fans in a sense, but fans are really starting to show up for the Alphond when people are
And the
on their
capital
recruiting.
improvements are going to recruit players too. The capital improvements we've been making to the Alphon too.
Absolutely agree.
I haven't been to a game this year. How is the construction coming along? Because I know you've been to a couple games.
Pretty smooth, actually. It's they think what they say 2027. I think they'll be done
No, next year.
next year. Okay, so they moved it up. Okay, I know when they first started they were pitching for 2027, but yeah, it's going really well. You can definitely see the improvements, and you can see kind of the output that they're going through. And so it's almost. I don't want to say it's not going to feel like you know how they call it the old barn. It's still got that feel, but it's just going to
Just be nicer, I
Okay.
guess, right? I've seen some of the pictures and whatnot.
My question is, will it fit that hill? Because the Alphon kind of comes up onto the edge of that hill there a little bit.
yeah, it does. It does. That's a good question. I don't know. That's the valid point, actually.
So I mean, the renderings make it seem as if the arena is like on the far right hand side. There's a big old entranceway on the left, but there's not much room on the left.
No, there's not.
So
Before we get to the question,
yeah,
what sports event are you guys looking forward to this weekend?
Hockey East tournament. Come on, it's not even close. Though I will say, Major League Baseball opening day, opening official opener was today. Dodgers knocking off the Cubs 4-1 in Tokyo. Kind of ho hum. Kind of like, oh yeah, they started the season, but
When does that start?
I'm sorry.
27th, I think. I looked it up earlier,
Okay.
or something like that.
Let's say everyone starts in about a week or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are there those teams, right? So the Cubs, the two teams that played Are they still have spring training games remaining, or
Nope, they're
no?
done.
There's some teams that are playing preseason, like exhibition games. Like I know a lot of times the Red Sox will play against like Boston College or some shit, but
Or
they're done with
Northeastern.
actual spring training. Yeah.
That's usually the beginning of the spring training season.
Oh, is
That's
that
like-
right?
That's usually the beginning of spring training.
I did not know
It's
that.
like they already did that this year.
Well, there was a MLB preseason game that was on like a couple days ago. It was like Padres and somebody. It said MLB on my betting app. It said preseason.
I mean, that's what Boston at least does. They play the local college team. It's usually like Northeastern or Boston University or Boston College. The first spring training game, and then the rest of it's regular spring training.
College. It's like 95% of the time it's Boston College.
Actually, it's Northeastern quite a bit.
BU, it's been like I think twice.
Yeah, like that's like 10 to 15 years. It's been Boston College for a year, I think.
I thought it was from my memory, it's been Northeastern quite a bit, but you're probably right.
They've never lost to a college team. They're like 20-0 or something like that.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them scores have been pretty close. I mean, shit, the Adelaide 36ers beat the damn Suns in the preseason. It's just like the Chinese national team they had playing the Sacramento Kings in summer league. It's always fun watching just some of those random fucking preseason games where you're just like, what are they doing on the same field together? I love watching like the D3 colleges play like Kentucky. You got like John Wall playing against some dude who just plays basketball because his friends told him he was good at it. So, oh man, I love sports. I can't believe nobody said March Madness for that question, man. But I get you guys are big hockey guys, though.
Yeah,
It's too early for March Madness to really like. It's horrible for me as a sports fan to say I don't really watch March Madness until like around the 32 to a Sweet 16, but I don't.
So you watch it as it gets later. Most people are the opposite.
I'm with Ian on that one too, because I love watching the first like opening day of it, and it's because there's always those one or two games that there's so many games going on, so there's close.
Right. I mean, it's not to say that I won't ever watch the opening round or anything like that, but I typically watch as it gets later. I usually pick up second round. Usually.
No, that's fair. I mean, I get it because you're in it to see the best possible games. You want to see the best teams facing off against each other. So I totally get where you're coming from. But like typically, and Ian, you're the biggest March Madness guy here, so you can correct me if this is an inaccurate statement. But on most of like I don't want to say the biggest moments, but the most shock and awe moments normally come the first two opening days.
Oh, absolutely. Because I mean, that's when you have Lehigh, which is in Pennsylvania, by the way. They beat Duke. But yeah, I mean, because once you get to the second round, usually the team that pulled off some major upset, like Little Rock, I mean, usually they get like their face beat in or something like that. And usually the cream starts to rise to the top. I love a good Cinderella story. But I personally am a fan of seeing the best team win at the end of the day. The Cinderellas are cool, but once the big boys get to playing, like I'm not like this ain't Remember the Titans. You know what I'm saying? So
no, agreed. And one last thing before we get to the question. Sweeping declaration right here, fellas. Celtics are going back to back.
that'll
Okay,
last about 20
if you say this, then you have to reserve the right for us to torch your ass every time you say this team is trash.
Fine.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
For every time you did say the Celtics are trash, you receive one felony.
No. Then he has to do some bullshit like he did with the Blue Jays player who lost his fantasy football league.
Yeah, maybe you should give a speech when the Celtics win next year, Casey.
No, because no, because that's nowhere near the level of your idiocy.
It's not. It's not.
It's not. It's nowhere near
the
that.
game's over when it's a traveling violation. 3 seconds.
I'm not saying he's not a nihilist when it comes to when the Celtics are making stupid mistakes, because he is, but he doesn't make stupid picks like you had. What was it? Ole Miss beating Georgia or whatever it was?
Oh yeah, still picking the Mavs when they're down 0-3.
Right.
I believed him until about 3 minutes left in Game 6, bro. And then I'm like, once
Please,
Pritchard hit that
no.
halfway shot, nah, not really that late into the game.
The series was over, this series was over by the end of Game 3, and everyone knew it.
They wanted to wrap that shit up at home, and they did. And then Tatum, man, he tried that in the shower too many times. I agree with what Justin said back in the day. Like it is genuine. I don't think that he was faking it, but it was forced more so. I think it was genuine, but that whatever he said was forced because Kevin Garnett, and he said, "Well, my mama, this motherfucker." So totally, but it was great moments both times. And what I was thinking earlier, because we were talking about legacy. I mean, you think the Celtics winning back to back, dude? Like, with all the bullshit, shortcomings they've had, that's gonna be the first team of the 2020s to repeat. And that's going to be the team of the 2020s if they win this year. There's not going to be a debate unless somebody comes along.
If they go back to back, it solidifies Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown as first ballot.
Mazzulla.
It puts Brad Stevens as a first ballot Hall of Famer as an executive.
100%.
And he's damn near up there already.
But this solidifies it. That would solidify it.
With his accomplishments already, right? Now, obviously, I don't think it puts him in the top 10. But if the Celtics win back-to-back, where does it put Tatum on your all-time legacy for all-time?
Nowhere near the top
10. As in Mount Rushmore?
No, yes, like I said, I know he's nowhere near. He would be top 10. Would he crack your top 20?
Might crack the top 15, maybe. At best.
I would say top 20, like anywhere between 17 to like 23.
I'd say somewhere closer to 17. I mean, you'd have to give me the players to really listed it, but
you know what? Let's go ahead and I'll pull it up. I'll screen share it. I got you. Oh, the shit's small as fuck. My bad. But the NBA's
he'd be top 20, but he would need like MVP accolades to get to the 15 mark.
Yeah, that's fair. Because an example, because if I'm kind of looking through the NBA, ESPN, the 100 greatest players, who I'd say around 25 or so. If he wins another championship, if he wins the MVP, maybe a couple of MVPs, I don't have a problem putting top 20. I mean, because you look at, Garnett, he won one MVP. Barkley won one.
He's better than Chuck. He's better than Chuck.
Yeah, I mean, Chuck was great. Don't get me wrong. He had that one amazing year in Phoenix.
But one amazing year as opposed to consistency.
No.
I mean, Garnett.
Charles Barkley's had a few amazing seasons. Like, he was a phenomenal player.
I mean, again, different era, different type of game, really.
Yeah, 100%. But what I'm saying is, you got to think of the accolades he's had already, though. Like, obviously, he's never won an MVP yet, but I think that's probably coming at some point. He's made the playoffs every year. He's been to the Eastern Conference Finals 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, 5 out of 7, I think.
And then this should be his third final. If they go, this should be his third finals appearance. Like, you can't sit here and say no, because they lost against the Warriors, and then they lost to the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right. But conference finals, they've been to the conference finals like 4 or 5 years in a row.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So, is on a pace, especially if they win back to back, and then say a couple years down the road they win another one. If he's a 3-time champion, and maybe an MVP's thrown in there, consistently getting to the playoffs, and he's averaging 26, 27 like he does for over 10 to 15 straight, he's going to crack it.
He can crack it.
Yeah.
I don't think he's over. He's not over Dirk yet. He's not over Dirk. He's over Garnett for me.
All time, he's over Garnett so far? I wouldn't put him over Garnett yet. I'm not saying he won't at some point get to that. Like, I think he's a more talented player than Kevin Garnett.
That's what I mean. I think I would, if I were to, like, in a vacuum, if I were to, like picking a team, I would pick Tatum over Garnett.
I would too, but I definitely wouldn't take his legacy over Garnett's yet.
True. That I'll give you. I'll give you that.
He's not over Jerry West nor Giannis, in my opinion.
No.
Not yet.
Moses Malone, Elgin Baylor. I still don't. I mean, you think Jelly Russ, Elgin Baylor, man? They just kept running into the great Celtic teams. Dirk. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, it sounds far fetched, but I mean, if he really wins another MVP, like, he's gonna have more MVPs than these guys. So it's gonna be fun to see how the narrative plays out. Because if sports had taught us anything, you think you might know what's gonna happen, but like with Kevin Durant, we just see a crazy shift.
Exactly. All right, Ian,
Yeah.
you got the question, my friend? What do you got
Let's
for
go
us?
for it.
What is the first time you experienced heartbreak when a favorite player of yours was traded? Cooper Kupp, man, I miss you. That's not the first time, but that shit hurts, man.
Oh, I can tell you right now. There were two. There
I
were
got
two
mine.
for me.
Right off the bat, I got mine.
You go for it, Casey.
Got it. You got it.
Nomar.
Mm.
Nomar. Nomar and Pedro, both of them, when they were both dealt. Nomar was first, obviously. But that was back in the summer of 2004. We ended up getting Orlando Cabrera, which was a good pick. It was a good pick for the year, obviously. But for me, that one hurt a lot. I'm not quite over that, to be honest.
Mine's super easy. Emmitt Smith leaving the Cowboys.
Oh, that's easy. Yeah, it's an easy one. Easy one to pick. Where did he end up going anyway?
Arizona.
Oh,
So funny fact, it was week 6, I think, of the 2003 season. Arizona went back to Dallas, and we blew the fucking doors off the Cardinals that game. That was the first year under Parcells. I don't know if you guys were hyped up on football back in 2003, but this was the first year under Parcells. Quincy Carter was our starting quarterback, and it was the first year after we had the 3 straight 5-11 seasons. And we end up going 10-6 that year and made the wild card. We had a really good team that year.
Isn't Arizona where running backs go to retire?
Yeah, and
Emmitt
he did.
Smith, Edgerrin James.
I think Emmitt Smith finished with. I'm either mixing up the Emmitt Smith game or the DeMarco Murray game as far as what they had for rushing yards. One of them ended up finishing with negative rushing yards against Dallas. On their first game against Dallas after leaving them. I think it might have been Emmitt.
I was going to say I thought it was DeMarco Murray, actually.
It might have been, because I know we fucked DeMarco Murray up in 2015, the first game that we played against him. But same thing did to Emmitt. Emmitt did not have a good return to Dallas at all.
No, he didn't. No, it wasn't a great game by any stretch. But I don't think he had negative yards in his return.
I know we blew the doors off him, and I know Emmitt didn't have anywhere near like 100 by any stretch. I don't even think he had
like 40. I think he had 40 at most.
But either way, that definitely was the one that tugged at the heartstrings the most. It's Emmitt Smith, man. He was the all-time leading rusher. I remember watching the game against Seattle when he had an 11-yard run that broke Walter Payton's record.
Didn't he wear 4 different jerseys that game or some shit like that?
For me, like I said, it was Nomar Garcia Parra, but I can still remember. Hang on a second.
What about you? Said yours was
gloves. The gloves. Nomar Garcia Parra with the gloves.
When he went to the Dodgers, right?
Yeah. Well, I thought he was traded to the White Sox and then the Dodgers.
No, it was the Dodgers.
Was it the Dodgers straight? Was it straight to the Dodgers? Okay. Yeah, and then Pedro went to the Mets. Yeah, that just hurt.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it was the Garcia Parra trade that ultimately a lot of people think, helped that chemistry gel for them to.
It was. Like I said, it wasn't the wrong move for the team.
It just hurt. Like, that's your guy.
It just hurt, but it hurt.
It's just like when the Celtics traded away Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. Like, it hurt. More so for Pierce, of course, because Pierce was a lifelong Celtic, but it was the right move for the team.
It paid dividends, obviously, with that trade. You end up getting Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and it's at all.
Of course. And let's be real. Like, we knew with that trade, they were phoning in the big three. And the upper management knew that There's no way that big three was ever going to beat the Heat.
No, there's no way. Especially because Ray Allen left first. No,
Yes, because he won the championship in 2013 Miami.
Right. Once he left, then it was time to break it up.
Yes.
But that hurt to break it up.
Do you guys remember the last game they played together? Game 6 against the Knicks. So so they were getting blown out. Remember the third quarter? And then they went on that 20-0 run.
Mm-hmm.
I was so fucking hyped, man. And then obviously the Knicks still ended up winning the game. But they went on a 20-0 run during that game to cut it.
We're back. It's back. The boys are back.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was watching the game with a few of my buddies. Obviously, we were having a few beers, drinking. One of them's a Knicks fan. He's talking shit the whole game. The Celtics go up 20, and I am giving it right back. I'm like, this game's fucking over for y'all. You guys blew a 20-point lead, and then Carmelo goes down, hits a 3, and I'm like, oh shit.
Oh man. But yeah, so we're not going to meet again before the Hockey East tournament final is ended. So I will say it now. Maine over UConn. Maine wins the Lamorella Trophy.
I'm gonna say, unfortunately, BU over Maine.
Okay, no, it's not a bad pick. I mean, it's
being realistic.
It is.
What you got, Ian? Hockey East tournament. Oh shit, Celtics tied it.
Hockey East tournament, Maine.
I hope so.
Over.
I hope y'all are right. Obviously.
I was looking at the stabby. They're pretty dominant, especially compared to where they were last year at the same time. So we'll see. Oh my god, yo! Before we go, bro, I gotta fuck. Oh, and by the way, my answer. I ain't tripping. I was just gonna go past it. But this is, Paul Correa was my. He didn't get traded.
Yeah, Paul Correa going to St. Louis.
Colorado. I think it was right after the Dodgers.
No, it was St. Louis. It was St. Louis first.
Was it?
It was St. Louis first. He went to Colorado, then back to St. Louis.
Man.
No.
Always have love for Paul Correa, bro.
What I was gonna say though is, man, this weekend, bro, I experienced a fucking tornado for the first time. That shit was crazy, man. Bro, I was going over to a friend's and I'm walking out there, the fucking sirens going off, like we just dipping, and we're just chilling on our porch. Like it's what is terrifyingly beautiful, man. Like it's I think 3 people in northern Arkansas actually lost their lives. I haven't seen. I'm from the West Coast, dude. Like I know you guys down there get pretty bad, probably snowstorms and whatnot, but bro, like that shit's like nothing I've ever fucking seen, like being from California.
Did you see it? Like, did you in like sight of this or?
No. So I don't think it hit us really bad. I think it just more or less skipped over. Like we were chilling outside, and then once it started to get calm, we just went back inside. It hit. Like I want to say, I don't know where Jonesboro is in relation to us, where we're in Central Arkansas, but it hit a lot worse in a different part of Arkansas. But no, I didn't see it. I heard it sounds like a freight train. You'll know it's coming. Like I don't know, but it was crazy, bro. Like the lightning, and it was something else. I've never experienced that in my fucking life.
But it's been a great show, boys. I'm gonna kick back, relax, finish this Celtics game, and call it a night.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good.
Okay. And I'm about to make sure to upload this bitch so it don't have to wait till Friday.
Let's have a good night.
Well, if you're gonna grab the gun for May, don't forget to bring a towel.
What the fuck is up with that damn laser? Where's your cat? Good night, mixed reactions.